and a very warm welcome to this week's episode of Out and About in the UK. Today's show has a distinctive business feel to it, where we'll be at the Irish Embassy for the launch of the London Irish Business Alliance. We'll also be meeting up with the Sligo Business Network set up by London businessman Andy Rogers to promote and strengthen trade links between Sligo and London. We'll also be at the Dorchester Hotel for the Corporate Ireland Gala Ball. But first, we meet up with Michael and Jacqueline O'Donovan of the family-run O'Donovan Waste Disposal. They recently opened a brand new processing facility in Alberton in West London, and we went along to find out more.
O'Donovan Waste Disposal was started back in the late 50s by my late father, Joe O'Donovan, who passed away suddenly at the age of 51 in 1985, so we celebrated his 30-year anniversary this year.
It's a new yard we've got here in Alberton. It's a waste transfer station we've opened here. We're doing all the recycling, and obviously, as you see behind me there, a baling machine. We're baling, recycling all that comes through the door. We have around 140 staff here at the minute. We've also got some of them that have been with us a lot of years. I've got our mechanics been with us over 30 odd years. Some of the drivers have been with us 25 years. And obviously, we're always looking for new staff, obviously looking for drivers all the time, and machine drivers, always looking for new staff. But we have around 140 at the minute, all happy, been with us quite a while. It's like a big, happy family.
It's a material recycling facility, so the waste comes in from construction and demolition sites, gets tipped into the shed inside, gets sorted and picked, gets loaded into a machine which works a bit like a tumble dryer, and it shakes the heavy through the bottom, and then it goes up onto the picking line, and there's waste handlers up there that are picking different commodities off the belt. And then we've also got a baler, and then we bale the waste. We've got 95 vehicles on the road, and we have quite a selection of makes and models. They range from Volvos, Scanias, DAFs. The preferred one is Volvo and Scania on the on the 8-wheelers and upwards, and on the skip lorries it's Volvo and Mercedes. 10% of our sales is household waste, and 90% is construction and demolition companies, so from your small builder up to your blue chip company. Construction sector here in London is massive to us as a company. We service all sites, we're at Battersea, we're at the Shard, we're at Wembley, we've been at all the big sites, so construction is huge. The environmental issues in the waste is massive. It's, well, in London, full stop, even with logistics, it's absolutely enormous, because obviously we've got the low emission zone coming in, so it's high on priorities. Here at the Alberton site, we've got 60,000 litre rainwater harvesting tanks, and we've got solar panels, so we're self-sufficient with regards to electricity, and all the actual equipment within the shed is powered by electricity as opposed to diesel. We're at the early stages of this facility now, so we're just trialling different processes at the moment, so we're still in the teething stage. So it's to get this facility up and running 24 hours, 7 days a week.
I love the vintage vehicles because of what I was brought up with. Obviously, my dad run vehicles like this. This is not one of my dad's old vehicles. My dad run this type of vehicle, so obviously when I seen it, I had to buy it, I had to come home. We've tidied it up a little bit. We still have a bit more work to do on it, but we have 7 or 8 now vintage vehicles. All vehicles my dad had in the job when he started off in the early 60s. So that's why we love them so much.
Cycling in London is increasing enormously, and it's going to get busier and busier with bicycles, and unfortunately there has been numerous fatalities, mainly with construction vehicles. So TfL started an initiative called FORS, and it's been rolled out nationwide now, whereby you get an accreditation, bronze, silver or gold, and we were one of the first independents to get the gold accreditation, so we were really chuffed with that. But it enhances the driver training, the type of fleet, the safety on the fleet, and it's best practice. Recently, the most recent one is the Brake Fleet Award, which we picked up in Birmingham for safer vehicles. We've got a Motor Transport Award for driver training. We've got a Construction Excellence Award for leadership and people development. We're very heavily involved with training the staff and upskilling the staff. But yes, we've got quite a few awards now under our belt.
Out of Cork, and obviously my mum and dad are from Cork. hence the colour of the shed behind me here is in the Cork colours. My dad obviously left Ireland in the 50s, come to London, got stuck in, and obviously left us a great legacy, as you see behind us, and we've been shoeing on ever since. Obviously, it's great being a second generation Irish. A lot in this industry. Most of the people in this industry are second generation Irish. You've got hundreds of companies, and most of them are, same as myself, as they call us, plastic paddies. But that's where we're from.
So the Irish made a huge impact here in London, particularly in the building sector.
Oh, definitely. The Irish really, if you look back through history, built the majority of London. My dad come here in the 50s. There were Irish people before me dad here. They've been going on right up to today. Ireland means everything to us. Obviously, that's where our roots are. That's, even with the English accent, that's our roots. That's where we come from. We do an Irish vintage rally every year. We love going there because it's just a great crack, and Ireland is where we're from. That's where the O'Donovan name comes from, Ireland, and that's where we're from.
Great to see Irish family businesses thriving here in London. Next, we're off to the Irish Embassy for the launch of the London Irish Business Alliance, which brings business people together to the love of sport.
There are many ways of promoting Ireland. One of them certainly is through our sport, our Gaelic games, our rugby, our soccer and so forth. And that's why I'm delighted to have an Irish rugby team playing in the Premier League here in England, representing Irish values, Irish traditions, and I'm delighted to support them because I think they're a resource for Ireland, because they are a focal point for the Irish community in London and always have been. Britain is our most important market, our most important economic partner, always will be. Therefore, the more economic connections we have with Britain, the more Irish people we have connected with Ireland, working and living here, the better for us. And we have about 20 business and professional organisations in this city alone. And I'm delighted that London Irish Rugby Club are adding another business network to this already strong Irish business community here, because it does two things. First of all, it connects the Irish business people with each other, which is good. But secondly, it connects them with Ireland, because if they're members of an Irish business network, it'll mean that they're connected with Ireland. And those connections will be vital for us in the future as we seek to develop further our already very lucrative economic relationship, a two-way relationship with the UK.
We're really delighted to be launching this business alliance here in the embassy.
One of the things I kept hearing from Irish people living in London was, I used to go to London Irish and it's where I got my first start, it's where I met my first boss, or I networked, and we've probably lost our way the last few years, and it hasn't been the focal point for Irish people in London, and we're determined to bring that back. And the London Irish Rugby Business Alliance is there through sport and business to bring people together so that they can further their careers and they can also have a bit of crack. So every weekend there's a focal point at the matches, but also we'll host events such as breakfasts, dinners, where we'll get someone who's achieved a massive success in sport and business to talk to everybody and help them build their careers. We have fantastic new owners who are very committed to putting the Irish back in London Irish. We're looking at potentially taking a game away from our home ground in Reading. We're also looking at the potential of where we play our rugby. But first and foremost, we have to get the foundations in place, and that's our people. So we're keeping our best people now, and we're recruiting the best people to take us forward. We have the best training facility and home in the Premiership at Hazelwood. We've recently had Fiji and Wales and the New York Jets train there, and it's also the home of London GAA while they redevelop Ruislip. So we have big plans, but we have a big job on our hands at the same time.
Ambassador Mulhall earlier said the club is 120 years old, just slightly short of that, and formed by a very fascinating group of Irish politicians, business people, academics who were based in London in the late 1890s, and that was the origin of the club. We were the third of the great exiles clubs to be formed after London Scottish and London Welsh. And one of the things I've always thought was very far-sighted of them was they wrote into the original constitution of the club that we would be a home from home for all Irish men and women, regardless of race or regardless of creed or where you came from in the country. And it's nice to be able to say 120 years or almost 120 years later in that's still one of the great traditions of London Irish.
That's why we're here tonight, to reconnect and strengthen the relationship with the Irish community.
Absolutely. In 20 months ago, the club was taken over by a consortium headed up by two passionate London Irish businessmen, Mick Crossan and Phil Clusack, and they were totally determined to put life back into the name of the club, the Irishness of us, and also the fact that we are London, or we've always been based in London. And so tonight's event is another step in that road as the club reconnects with the Irish business community in this great city.
I think it's a fantastic occasion and a great event, and great credit to London Irish Rugby Club for pulling it together. It's obvious to me that in the last couple of years with the new ownership that London Irish have really moved on and evolved big time, and I know they're very ambitious and obviously very creative and innovative, and hopefully they have lots more ideas that will benefit them and make the club one of the stronger clubs in England.
Describe the relationship between London Irish Rugby Club and the RFU.
Well, currently, I suppose it's not really what it was. At one time, it used to be known as the Fifth Province, if you like. And I was out in Hazelwood last year at the opening, and they have an international board out there, and it's mind-boggling to see the names of the guys who've gone through the club. And, it's obviously they're fellow small countries, but the bulk of them would be from Ireland. And some great Irish internationals in the past have played there. But times have changed now in the professional era. I mean, we in Ireland, I suppose, struggled ourselves to develop 4 teams to compete for us. So we couldn't really, up to now, give them support that they would have liked us to give. But I think now that they're in a different space and hopefully moving on, and as we do our business better, hopefully there'll be synergies there which will benefit us both.
Many thanks there to Bob Casey and all at London Irish Rugby Club for inviting us along there to the launch of the London Irish Business Alliance. We're going to take a break right now, but do come back to us for the second half of the show. You're very welcome back to the show. Well, the Sligo Business Network was set up by businessman Andy Rogers to bring Sligo people together to promote and strengthen trade links to the county back home. And we went along to one of the networking meetings to find out more.
Tonight is another one of the many Sligo business events we have. Over the years, I've built up a list of about nearly 400 people who've come from Sligo, or perhaps driven through Sligo, but mainly come from Sligo. And I've just started to network them together as a group. They're almost all in business. I mean, we have a fantastic cross-section, not just the building world, but it's actually all the social workers, the dentists, the doctors, and so on. So just twice a year we get together, and then I try to link them back home with some of the main leaders, just keeping that connection, letting people be aware that there is life over there still, despite all the rumours to the country. And in fact, things are picking up very well back at home.
We have a business in the UK, a factory where we make artificial turf, and then we have a natural grass business. So we build football pitches pretty much all over the world, and a lot of our clients are the Real Madrid, the Barcelona, and one of our big news is that we're going to do the World Cup final in Moscow 2018. What I'm trying to talk about tonight is the opportunity for small startup companies in Sligo getting into England, networking at these sort of events, because there are 60 million people in the UK, 10 times the size of Ireland. This is where they need to network.
It's a very good event. We're delighted to be here. A few of us came over. It's great to see a Sligo community gathered together. The reason why we're over here is to promote Sligo, and particularly Ross's Point and County Sligo Golf Club. It's a golf course that was designed by the famous Harry Colt back in 1894. Harry Colt also designed the likes of Royal Rush, Royal Lytham and St Anne's, and Muirfield. These are all courses that are on the British Open rota, and we think that it's a great opportunity to bring people from the UK with Sligo backgrounds back to see Ross's Point, see Sligo, and to play golf. It's a growing industry, and we'd like to promote that, and that's the reason why we're here.
Pharmaceuticals is a major sector in the UK, particularly the life sciences industry. Some of the biggest stock companies, such as GSK, quoted on the stock market, are the biggest performing companies in the UK. Equally, many pharmaceutical companies have their bases, both manufacturing and financial headquarters in Ireland, and it's one of our biggest exports from Ireland. I qualified as a pharmacist in 2009, and then in 2010 I moved to London. For the last 5 years, I've been working in the regulation of pharmaceuticals for the UK drug regulator, and I'll be moving back to Ireland next month to work in consultancy to help firms negotiate the regulatory framework to get their products licensed in Europe.
Well, just chatting to Andy earlier on, we do a foreign directors piece of research every year on the most prolific company directors in the UK, and I'm delighted to say the Irish come out #1 every year, and it's always a big event around St Patrick's Day, usually in the Irish Embassy, and according to Andy as well, the Sligo contingent is pretty high up on that number too. Both culturally and commercially, we have and continue to make a massive impact. We should be very proud. The type of work we do with the surveys each year is just really to reiterate that influence that we have in London and across the whole of Britain, and something where we can probably all help each other out a lot more too. Our kind of take on business back home is judged on the business we do with companies from Ireland working with us. We have 2 at the moment. It went to 0 during the bad old days, so it feels like it's going in the right direction. So certainly great hope for next year, I think.
Many thanks there to Andy Rogers and all at the Sligo Business Network for inviting us along there to their networking evening. Formed in 1979, Corporate Ireland are an all-island peace-building charity. They recently held their Gala Ball at the Dorchester Hotel, and we went along to meet some of the guests and patrons.
So this is one of our annual fundraising events for Corporate Ireland, and Corporate Ireland, a peace-building charity, has been going on the island of Ireland since 1979. So at one level we are involved with both the British and Irish government, so we're closely involved with the 2 state visits, the Queen's visit to Dublin and the President's visit then to the UK. We facilitated the handshake between Her Majesty the Queen and Martin McGuinness. And then at the grassroots level, we're involved with communities, doing community work, reconciliation work, helping people to understand the other community and understand the other's culture and background, so that at long last on this island, that we never have violence visited again on us.
And now it really is a time that the relationship between Britain and Ireland, it really never has been this strong.
Well, there's certainly between Britain and Ireland, there's an economic imperative to better relations between the 2 islands. But I would agree, particularly after the 2 state visits, the relationship at that level has never been better. There's still a lot of work to be done between the north of Ireland and the south of Ireland. There's an ambivalence in the Republic of Ireland towards Northern Ireland. There's an ambivalence in Northern Ireland towards the Republic of Ireland. So we need to change that. And then within the communities in Northern Ireland, there are obviously still a lot of sectarian difficulties that we still need to progress.
Tell us a bit more about the offices within the organisation. You mentioned you have obviously the London office, but there is quite a few others.
Yeah, we have an office in Belfast and one in Dublin, an office down in Cork and one here in London. We have a separate board in the United States, and we have a UK Ireland board. It's a joint board made up of people from the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Our chairman is Christopher Moran, who's London based, and our vice chair is John Bruton, the former Taoiseach.
Tell us about the format tonight. There's some entertainment, there's some raffles and all sorts of stuff.
Some entertainment. There's a great Irish band, Green Hot Clover, great fiddler Richard Sanderson, great guitar and singer Sharon Murphy, and hopefully some raffles and auctions where people will bid some big money for some great prizes.
People watching tonight, if they want to actually donate, is that possible online?
They can donate online if you go to www.corporataireland.org. There is a way to donate online, and there's a way if they wish to get in touch with me. My details are all on the website too, so look for me or have a look at Corporation Ireland. We're very grateful for the support.
We have a gentleman standing beside you here now. Tell us about this gentleman.
Well, this gentleman's been a great friend and over the last 5 or 6 years really, and John can tell you about himself, really. But he's been a terrific, not just a great friend, but a great supporter of the charity and a great benefactor of the charity, and helped set up what is now probably our lead fundraising group within the whole charity. So,
John, you're part of you lead the ambassadors group. Tell us about that.
I founded the ambassador group, as Mike says, about 5 years ago, and it's basically like-minded individuals who've were born in Ireland or very strong Irish connections, who, when they heard about what the great work the charity does, especially with young people, their leadership project, really wanted to add something back. So initially it was individuals like myself who are lucky enough to have resources to support it. Then more recently we have corporate supporters as well. So to date we've raised about £1.5 million, and the next goal is £5 million, and we're very confident we can do that. And it costs about £5,000 to put each young person through a project. So we've already helped around 300 such young people.
The Irish community, they really come together, they really support their own, don't they?
Yes, and of course their own, it covers both north of Ireland and the Republic, and helping to try and build bridges, which is a hearts and minds challenge rather than a physical one. So much more subtle, but the results have been absolutely outstanding in terms of getting young people back into work, training, full-time education. So we've opened a lot of people's eyes up, and we've identified those particular ones who are leaders, so in turn they can inspire other people.
It is a fantastic night, and you know what, I try and come every single year because it's amazing, and it's great. Actually, it's a great way to get all the Irish people together from all over England and Ireland for doing the Dorchester. It's very special, actually. I love supporting it because I've seen what Corporate Ireland has done in Belfast and in Republic of Ireland, and I think it's great that actually the Queen is a massive supporter, our President Michael D. Higgins, and I think that event in Windsor Castle this year was absolutely incredible.
And you're a board member of Corporate Ireland.
That's right, yes. I am, and I'd like to actually, if possible, maybe do another really nice do like this, the equivalent of this in Manchester this year, or maybe actually next spring, and I'm hoping for all the Irish people and everybody to support it.
We know now at the present time that Northern Ireland is having a very, very tough time to get people to invest in it for the long term. And, obviously, if we can get a lot of industry going and we can bring in investment into Northern Ireland as well as South Ireland, that's going to help the peace process. We all want to see not just peace, but we want to see a sustained peace.
So there's obviously a lot of friends and well-wishers and supporters here tonight.
And they're all important, each and every one of them. They come, they buy tables, they buy auction prizes, they come as individuals, they come as corporate organisations, and all of them are equally important because all of the funding goes to programmes that we will develop between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland.
If people want to find out more, and indeed if people want to donate money, how can they do that?
If they get on our website, www.cooperationireland, all one word, no hyphen, .org.
Well, a great night there at the Dorchester Hotel for the annual Corporate Ireland Gala Ball, and many thanks there to Mike Murphy for inviting us along. If you'd like to contact the show, send an email to ian@irishtv.ie. You can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have right now, but do come back to us next week when we'll be out and about in the UK.